Morning, Mr. Wagner, for my 7th grade social studies classes. Today, we're learning about Russia, пожалуйста. Finally, we're learning about Russia. The chapter on India came to an end, and we are learning about Russia the same way we would. The textbook only really has you learn about Azerbaijan and the countries right there that are part of Russia, but on the west, and deal with Russia, but then fight each other, and it's crazy. But I wanted to do a little bit of everything and do a little bit of like what you might get to if you ever get into like, I guess it'd be world history later in high school, mixed with what we would do in 7th grade. So we start off today with geography and culture and whatnot. And the idea is you first watch Geography Now, but it's on YouTube and you could watch it there too. I snipped it down to what we need, and you'd watch the video and answer the questions that go along with it. So you'd watch this video on Geography Now, where they talk about the flag and a lot of the geography, because Russia is a massive country. And then there is a form that you fill in while you're watching it. So you click on what class period you're in, and then it says, what are the largest two cities in Russia based off of the video, right? Moscow's got to be one. Got to be. Capital. And then you just have to watch the video, maybe rewatch it a couple of times, and then answer the questions and push submit. So that's part 1. Okay? The idea is, I'm showing you a little Russian map while we're in there. It's massive. But a lot of the big party part of it, if you will, the fancy part you've seen on like a James Bond movie or like I don't know, on TV somehow, is all here. The most popular cities you'd ever go to, let's say you were learning and you had to go there for college because you did a Russian minor or you were going to try to be in the CIA one day, right? St. Petersburg, West Coast, not West Coast, but Western up there in the north. Moscow is the capital, and in Russia they say Moskva. And then Sochi was just the Olympics recently, right? So those are 3 of the most popular cities you'd possibly go to. This is a lot of like flat land for farming, basically from the lower half, right? So there's lots of good farming. There's cities and there's exports, lots of oil actually. And then this eastern half of Russia is way different. You're going to learn in the video that it's more like not as great farmland, just basic farming, or it's almost like a little middle of nowhere type of thing going on. Siberian area is here, right? This is the parts where you're known like, oh, it's snowing and there's like tigers that live in the snow. Is up like in this area, right? And supposedly when there was like bad rulers in Russia, they'd send you to the middle of nowhere to like a gulag or a jail or something, and it would be over here. And that's what we learn as Americans. That's all we really know. But there's a lot more to it than that. Other fun fact, that's my wife's name. So there's a river named the Lena River, and it's hilarious. But they'll mention like specific places and specific areas in the video. Hopefully I didn't say anything wrong and then it would look bad in the video. But I didn't want to have you like memorize where things are on a map. We're kind of like past that. It's less important at this time, and more the culture and the history is kind of neat. We don't talk about how the Viking type of people came in and took over. They were called the Kievan Rus. So Russia is named after the Rus part of that, and Kiev is the capital of Ukraine, which was part of the Soviet Union, but now is next to Russia, right? And there's all kinds of neat things that are on the current events all the time. Like Russia goes into eastern Ukraine and like attacks and tries to take people and make them back part of Russia. And then, so eastern Ukraine, I don't know if they are kind of agreeing to that or not. And then western Ukraine, if you ask somebody, they're like, I'm Ukrainian. And eastern Ukraine might say more like, I'm Russian, but I just live in Ukraine. So it's a kind of a big deal, right? And there's all other countries right here. These yellow, green, red, Belarus, Ukraine. that were part of Russia when it was called the Soviet Union was this massive, massive country that was like our number one enemy of the United States. So it's a big deal. So I married somebody that's the enemy. Oh well. So close that map, I will, in the Yoda voice. The next thing you have to do after you watch this video and answer the questions and hand in a Google form is go to the CIA World Fact Book. And we did something with this very early in the semester. And then you have to go and find Russia, Ukraine, Bulgaria, and United States. So if you're looking up Bulgaria, let's see, Bulgaria. And I'll show you what that looks like. It's a copy of the CIA World Fact Book chart. Population, Russian. So I'm on Bulgaria. And I can't get to the file. And it'll make you a copy of this, and you have to go, people in society. Where do I look for it? People in society, population. All right, let me find the population. So I have to scroll down a little bit. And I have to look under people in society. You see it says people in society, and then the population. And I can, if I'm good, I can just go copy and paste that, John, and go, boom, right? You might want to make it a little darker, but that's how you can get a lot of this data. And people make a living doing these types of studies. I think it's something you can even do in part of the CIA that doesn't use guns. Maybe that's my calling. And you can then make charts out of this. We're not going to make charts out of this. If we had a normal semester and more time, maybe. But we just need to fill in the data. And you're going to see like how the USA ranks against these countries, especially versus Russia, because they're like the enemies, right? Like Eagles and the Cowboys, or Cowboys and Eagles, depending on what you root for. And then you fill that in. So you don't want to just hand this. If you hand in the assignment without doing both, you're only going to get half right. Excuse me. So make sure that you do both. And then you're starting to get a feel of like what Russia is all about through culture, geography, and then also like the facts of stats and how they compare to the United States. Right? Okay. So that's an introduction to Russia, which used to be called the Soviet Union. It was called the Soviet Union because it was a union of different countries that are like, yeah, you know what? I'm definitely into the whole communism thing. They were all united loosely, and then they started to break free by the time I was like in 7th grade. Actually, they were all broken free. So go figure. All right. So good luck. We're gonna start learning about the number one enemy of the United States, and people debate over whether they're still an enemy of the United States or not, and they're always the bad guys in a TV show, and it's very interesting how they're like a Yankees Red Sox thing going on with the two countries, and there still is. So enjoy this last 2 weeks, plus or minus, of instruction. It's something you might not get till, I don't even know, 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. In 12th grade, not everybody even has to take social studies unless you really like it. So go figure. But I hope you like social studies and you're learning like all these unique cultures out there. Maybe some of you one day when we're allowed to will want to travel the world. But all right, best of luck. Wagner out.